Hey YouTubers, it is Valerie with Money Mindset Coach, and have you heard of farm core, cottage core, Grandmacore, all these different cores that are going around? I am going to talk about Grandmacore because that is right up my alley. So if you don't know me, if you've not been here before, I am a grandmother. I'm a divorced older lady who has made it work, survived. I have 3 boys. I have 3 grandchildren, and then I have 8 bonus grandchildren with my boyfriend that he has. So I get to have them in my life too. But today I would like to talk about Grandmacore because of all the cores that you can do. I do like cottage core, fisherman core, I don't know. But cottage core I think I could do. Grandmacore I know I definitely can. And so basically what it says online is it says Grandmacore is an aesthetic and lifestyle trend that celebrates the cozy, nostalgic, and homey aspects of what might traditionally be associated with grandmothers. Think of it as a romanticized return to simpler, slower living, rooted in comfort, tradition, and handmade charm. And I have to say, some of the stuff in here I relate with, some of it I definitely don't. But I'm going to go through it and you can tell me what you think. Basically, when it comes to fashion, vintage clothing, long skirts, cardigans, knitted sweaters, floral prints, lace blouses, house dresses, and aprons. Some of that. Accessories, brooches, pearl earrings, reading glasses, yes. Headscarves, no. Comfortable shoes, yes. I don't suffer wearing heels anymore. I really don't. They have to be comfortable. I have to be able to walk in them. Hobbies and activities, number 2. Baking from scratch, pies, cookies, breads, especially traditional and family recipes. Yes, I do that. I actually have the 1950 Betty Crocker cookbook that my mom got when she got married in 1950, and everything in there is from scratch. Everything. I do have something to talk about at the very end that kind of blew my mind when I heard it, so I'm going to share that later. Knitting, crocheting, and sewing. I don't knit, I don't crochet, I don't embroider, and I don't really know how to sew. Sorry. Gardening, especially flowers, herbs, and vegetables. I have just gotten into this. I have cucumbers and tomatoes. I have an azalea plant that I'm going to put in a pot tonight, probably before it gets dark. Yeah, I have done some of that. Preserving foods, jams, jellies, and home canning. I remember my mother and my grandmother doing this, and there is a return to that. You know, a lot of younger people are finding some of these things to be so cool. You know, it's like typewriters. You know, they didn't grow up with typewriters, but now they've discovered them and they think they're really cool. So everything that is old is new again. Absolutely. Reading old books, especially in cozy nooks. Yes, absolutely. I read for an hour every morning, and sometimes I read at night too. Jigsaw puzzles, no way. I hate them. Embroidery, no. I need to find some kind of pastime like that. I really do. I would love to find something that I could do with my hands that, you know, isn't too hard. Decor and home life. Vintage or thrifted decor. Doilies, antique teacups, floral wallpaper, crocheted throws, old photographs. Now, I have to show you something. I went to the thrift store yesterday and I walked through all the knick-knack parts. And I have to tell you, I found this napkin holder. And I got to tell you, I looked at it, and first of all, I love bluebirds. Maybe this is going to be a new collection for me. I don't know. But I love bluebirds, and I just loved this napkin holder. Now, the napkins are napkins that I got for $1 a piece for the package. I got one kind on that side, one kind on that side. So this is on my dining room table, but I thought I didn't have anything that held napkins. So I kind of looked at it as, it's not just something I wanted, but something I needed. And I forgot I had these napkins. So here you go. And at the thrift store, I paid, well, the full price was $3.49. And I am not good with math, so I have to figure it out. Oh, come on. $3.49 times 0.3 equals. Okay. I got $1 off of this. So this cute little napkin holder was $2.49. That's pretty cool. So anyway, got that at the thrift store. So that goes along with decor, I would say. Cottage style kitchens, mismatched dishes, cast iron pans, handwritten recipes. Yes, I have handwritten recipes. I do have a cast iron skillet. I do have that. My dishes all match because I kind of like my dishes to match. Fragrance of comfort. Fresh, think fresh bread, lavender sachets, apple pie. Yeah. Values and mood. Slow living. Emphasis on mindfulness, staying home, and savoring everyday moments. Yeah. That is definitely me. Nostalgia. A love for, she had to get her bone, a love for the past, especially the 1940s through the 1970s. I was born in 1958, so I love the 50s and the 60s and the 70s. Those are the 3 decades that I really, truly love. Warmth and care, a nurturing home-centered lifestyle with who values relationships, quiet rituals, and handmade beauty. Yeah, that is definitely me. People are drawn to Grandmacore for the same reasons of the other cores. Cottagecore, farmcore have taken off. It offers us an escape from the fast-paced, tech-heavy world and reconnects us with comforting traditions, simple pleasures, and a sense of home. It is so true. And I got to tell you, I watch a lot of Leave It to Beaver when I'm at my boyfriend's house. That and Andy Griffith. Those are 2 of our favorites. I love Dick Van Dyke. He's not as crazy about Dick Van Dyke, but we both love Leave It to Beaver and Andy Griffith. Well, when you watch Leave It to Beaver, you see June Cleaver is the classic housewife. Every time that Ward comes into the house or the kids come into the house or come downstairs or whatever and they come into a room that June is in, she is cleaning something or she's cooking or she's doing the dishes. One thing I have never seen her do, I've never seen her iron. Never seen that. And she did. Any housewife back in the 50s and the 60s ironed. And I got to tell you, last week I was washing some sheets and I had some sheets to put away and I'd left them in the dryer too long. So they had gotten wrinkled, really wrinkled. And I thought, you know what? I learned to ironing pillowcases. And I got really good at pillowcases and my dad's handkerchiefs back when men and women had handkerchiefs. I would iron those too. Basically, I looked at these sheets and I thought, I think I'm going to iron them. And I got to tell you, it was so peaceful. When you iron, you don't have to really think very much about what you're doing. It can be kind of a mindless, calming activity. I especially like to iron during the winter time because the iron is a source of heat. And that is always wonderful during the winter. So I tend to iron more during the cold weather than I do now because it just heats me up. But this particular day, it was kind of cool outside. We've had a cool May and a cool June until today. It's been great. But I ironed the next set of sheets that I'm going to put on my bed. Now, I never did this growing up, or no, I never did this after I got married and had kids. I don't know how my mom and my grandmother found the time to do everything else that they were doing and iron the sheets. And I think my grandmother ironed underwear. I think she did. I don't know for sure, but I think she did. And I'm like, oh my gosh. But that's one thing that I have not seen June do is iron. And 50s housewife, she would have definitely ironed, but that's not something they ever showed her doing. They've showed her polishing the silver, cleaning off the front of the refrigerator. I don't know how they picked. I don't know how they picked the things that they did for her to do. I don't know how they wrote. And I really wonder how Barbara Billingsley felt about all the stuff that they had her doing around the house. Because it was all cooking and cleaning. That was it. That was what she did. And interestingly enough, if there was an issue with one of the boys, she waited for Ward to come home. And he dealt with it. There would be times where she didn't know what was going on with her kids. And she waited for him to come home and him to go up and talk to them. There were some times where she left the decision up to him of whether they were going to take a part-time job, if they were going to do something that she really wasn't too sure that she wanted him to do, but she left the decision up to him. That is completely out the window. And when I got married in the 80s, everything having to do with the boys was something that me and my husband at the time, that we talked about. I would know more what was going on with my kids than my husband did. I would fill him in on what was going on with them. He always looked to me to know what was going on. So anyway, but we've watched a lot of Leave It to Beaver, and it made me, when I watched that show, there's a longing of mine to kind of go back to the simpler times. Thank God we have cell phones now. Thank God we have them now, and we really don't know how to live without them because we are so used to, if our kids are old enough to have one, that we know where they are, that we can call them at any time if they're out doing anything. They can in turn contact you. Back then, oh my gosh, how many times did they not know where Beaver was? They couldn't find him. He'd run away or he went off and did something. They had no clue where he was. No clue. And when you think about it, I came home today, had the air conditioning off. It got kind of hot today. I've got my air conditioning on, but it's not really feeling cool in the house yet. And I have to mow my grass after I get done with this. So anyway, that is about all that I have. But it is true with Grandmacore. It's like I am embracing. I mean, I have been a grandmother. I'm 67. I have been a grandmother since I was 50 years old. I'm technically 49 when my oldest granddaughter was born. I turned 50 about 3 months after she was born, so I was very close to 50. But I have to say now at 67, maybe it's because I don't have the dark hair anymore. Maybe it's because I'm 67. I think I'm embracing being a grandmother more than I ever have, you know? I really truly believe that. I like to bake stuff. Now that's my other thing that I was going to talk about. Okay. The Betty Crocker cookbook, everything in there is from scratch. And I found a video on YouTube yesterday, and I was really, really taken by this. It was a doctor, and he has a YouTube channel. I think it was Mark Hyman, I think. Maybe some of you have heard of him. I came across it at my boyfriend's house, and I started watching it because he had a guy on there that lived on ultra-processed food for 30 days and what the results were for doing that. And so, you know, I am a person who that's another thing that's kind of changing with me, is I want real food. But what is real food? I've got a tomato plant, and I have gotten several tomatoes off of my tomato plant. I know exactly where it came from, and I know exactly what it is. I'm growing cucumbers. I don't have any cucumbers yet, but eventually I will. I'm going to know exactly where that cucumber came from. Well, you cut up a tomato, you haven't processed anything. The only thing you've done is cut it up. Same with a cucumber. But say you are making some jam. You've got a grapevine, or you've got blueberries, or whatever you have. Making those grapes or whatever into a jam is a process. And there can be a process 1, process 2, process 3. But then after you get past that many processes, you're into ultra processing. And that's the food that you want to stay away from. And I really, truly believe that, I think maybe it's really sunk in that I don't want to eat those things. I don't want to eat Oreos, Doritos, potato chips. You look at those things and you look at how processed they are. And there were 2 things this guy said that really struck me, and I wanted to share this with you. But he claimed, he said, okay, take some Pringles out of the tube, mash them up to dust, and then put them in a bowl and eat them with a spoon. Would you want to eat them? If that was the form that they were in, would you eat them? Obviously not. So should you eat Pringles? No, they're really, really processed. But the other thing that really hit me, because I have gotten this thing to where on Fridays I like to bake something. And I'm baking, even though now it's, summer, it's June, it's hot out there. I used to stop when it was not cold weather, and then I realized, you know what? Baking is a good thing. All right. This guy said, chocolate chip cookies. If you make them, yeah, they got brown sugar, they got sugar, you got the chocolate chips, it's like, is it the best thing in the world for you to eat? Well, there is some processing there. There is some processing there. But you know where the flour came from. You know the brown sugar. You know the sugar. You know exactly what is going into those chocolate chip cookies that you are making. But if you go into the store and you buy a Chips Ahoy chocolate chip cookie, look at the ingredients and look at everything that has been put into that and added to it to make that chocolate chip cookie. Which chocolate chip cookie would you rather have? You would rather have the one that you made yourself. I was blown away. I had never thought of it like that, ever, ever. And then it got me to thinking about, okay, this is the last thing that I baked last Friday, spice cake. But this is a cake mix, okay? And oh my gosh. You see right there? Right there. It's too small. I don't have my reading glasses, but that is everything that was added to make this cake mix. That I'm only adding eggs and oil, and I just did a video last week on how cheap it is to make a spice cake with a cake mix. Well, after I saw this video yesterday, I'm thinking, I think I'm going to open up that 1950 Betty Crocker cookbook and a lot of the other cookbooks that I have where things are made from scratch. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to find a spice cake recipe and make it from scratch. It's going to be better, I'm sure, even though this one wasn't bad. But look at everything that they added to that cake mix. If you cook literally from scratch, because when you use a cake mix, and those started coming out in the 50s, it made homemaking a whole lot easier, and there were a lot of women that started buying cake mixes and brownie mixes and all that. But how good would any of these be if we just did it from scratch, put all the ingredients together? How good would it be? I'm sweating, sorry. How good would it be? So I'm going to be opening up that Betty Crocker cookbook and some of the other cookbooks that I have, and I am going to be looking at making things from scratch, which will be less processed than all this other stuff. And think about it. Sodas, all the chips, all the snacks. How processed is all of this? If you go around the perimeter of your grocery store, that's going to be your safest place to go. And I tell you what, I am not buying American cheese anymore. I think American cheese is probably the worst cheese that you could possibly buy. It looks so processed because it's wrapped in plastic. I mean, each slice is wrapped in plastic. It's like, how good can that be? Not very. So anyway, I am going to really try to stay away from ultra processed food, because ultra processed food is not good for you. It puts weight on you. I have put weight on myself. I don't like it. So I am going to work at doing more of the real food. The other thing, I just thought of this. Margarine is a man-made product, and I don't like margarine. I like the real thing, which is butter. It's like, I know they were trying to do something special with margarine. And I remember my mom and dad were really getting into it. They thought, oh, because back then they told you butter was bad for you. Well, does it have some fat in it? Yes. But is it so much better? Yes. And it's real. It is real food. The other thing that I did after I did get my hair cut yesterday, so it does look a little shorter. I had her take about 2 inches off because it was getting so long. It was really getting hard to put the rollers in it. She took 2 inches off. She layered it again. But then I went to the thrift store because I was looking for summer dresses. I love to wear dresses during the summer. I think they're very cool. I think they're just comfortable. And you can not feel like you're dressed up when you're wearing a dress, when it's a summer dress. It just has that casual look to it, which I really like. So anyway, this dress I got at the thrift store. So I am going to stand up so you can see it. Turn around. It does go all the way down to the ankle, but it's got pockets, which I love. Now, when I was at work today, because I don't like my arms, so when I went to work today, I was wearing this, kind of covered up a little bit, but it still looks good. But I have to say, there were 3 other dresses that I bought, and ever since COVID, they haven't had fitting rooms at the thrift store, so you can't try anything on. You just have to buy it, and then if you don't like it or if it doesn't fit, you bring it back. They give you your money back. As long as you got the tag on it, they'll take it back. So that's fine. That's fine. But I spent money and didn't end up liking 3 out of the 4 dresses. Now, one of them, I couldn't believe it. There are brands in this thrift store that they think are really high-end brands, and some of them are, like Calvin Klein, certain ones like that, Donna Karan. But I bought one of these dresses just because of the name, Diane von Furstenberg. Yeah, it was a Diane von Furstenberg for $6.99, and that was regular price. I got 30% off of that. So I paid $4.99 for a Diane von Furstenberg. Now, it's kind of a wrap dress, which she was famous for. But I have to say, it just fits a little too tight right now. So after I lose some weight, that dress is going to look spectacular. So that dress I'm keeping. So basically there was only 2. There's only 2 of them that I'm going to take back and either get my money back or look for something else. But anyway, I got this dress. And what I'm trying to do is at least one day a week at work, I want to wear a dress. Well, right now I have this dress, I have the dress I bought for the wedding, and then I have my Dana Buchman dress. So I have 3 dresses. I was hoping to at least end up with 4. So then one day a week I could just, I've got 4 and there's 4 weeks in the month, and then I would just go with that. So anyway, didn't happen. But anyway, I paid $4.79 for this dress. You can't beat that. Senior Day, Tuesday at Savers, if you have one, I would go. So anyway, I've gone on a little bit. But anyway, I just wanted to share all of this with you. And let me know. Are you a grandma? Are some of these things that are Grandmacore? You probably already are doing a lot of them. Probably more than me. But anyway, take a look at it. Give me a thumbs up, comment, subscribe. There's a little bell right next to the subscribe button. If you hit that, any video that I do, you'll be notified of it. And that's a good thing. That is a good thing. So I am always talking about something, and I so enjoy doing this. So anyway, like I always say, use it up, wear it out, make it do without. Till next time. Bye.